This is Jenny Kunkel, and in this video we want to go ahead and create the textbook databases. I have made a few modifications to the textbook script in order to run in. You can locate that script file in the module 10 lectures area if you download that file, the create textbook DB. This is what we're going to be using to create our database instances. If we switch over to the PHP MyAdmin, this is going to be the primary tool that we use for most of our class. We can go ahead and log into this instance. We haven't really looked at this since week 1. In order to refresh how we need to log into this instance, our username is going to be root that we initially use. We're going to go ahead and go back to our Docker Compose. In our Docker folder, we have our .env file, and this is going to contain a lot of the information that we would need to log into the PHP MyAdmin tool itself. We can see that we are using the MySQL_DB instance. If it for some reason asks you for the server, that would be what you would enter there. In my case, it's not asking for that. It's just asking for the root user password, and I'm going to copy that from here. So using the MySQL root password, going back to the interface, pasting it in, and logging in, we are connected. We have our individual system databases. In order to load the new DDL, what we need to do is we need to click on the New tab. This is going to give us the option to see the databases that we currently have. We have our information schema, we have our MySQL, etc. Those are system databases. If we want to add a new one, we would go to the import option. This is going to allow us to browse a file. We have our textbook SQL file that we downloaded, and we're going to open that up. Once we have that open, we can just scroll down and do the import. And we should see a lot of green as we scroll through here. This is where it's going through and defining our databases. It's going to add some tables. It's going to add a few users as well. We can see that we're doing a couple of users and granting permissions on those user accounts. If we look at it, we have our MGS_tester, our MGS_user at this point in time. If we go back to the MyGuitar, if we expand that node, we should see that we have the MyGuitar_shop1, and we also have the MyGuitarShop_2 that have different sets of tables. In some cases, they have the same tables, but in the second instance, they have a few more tables, and the data between the two could be potentially different. Every assignment is going to tell you whether you need to use the MyGuitarShop1 or the MyGuitarShop2. In this case, we are going to essentially stop with this. We'll continue on in our walkthrough looking at how we can execute some SQL, get our hands on the keyboard and go through some SQL statements and work through our PHP MyAdmin tool. You'll notice that in the lecture, I'm using a universal tool. I use SQLite a lot, so I have the Beaver universal tool installed, and it's going to allow us to actually use more of an IDE that we can drill into and write queries for a variety of different databases, and MySQL is one of those. It's not going to have the MySQL specific things in it, but we can write our insert, update, and delete statements and do some of those types of things quite easily in a more clean environment than the PHP. And if you're going to be doing lots and lots of PHP and MySQL development, you may actually get to the point that you prefer to use something else for your database interactions when you're trying to query things and work through some things instead of using that web interface. And you can download this tool, or they have the MySQL Workbench. That's an option as well. In the videos for lecture, in a lot of cases, I'm using the Beaver because I think it is a little bit of a cleaner interface to show the queries. than using that PHP My Admin tool because of the way that you have to show the window and then it goes away so that you can see the results. That's not very clean. So I'm going to be more generally using the Beaver tool as we walk through some of the actual SQL specific things in lecture.